Subaru wakes up in Roswaal Manor after dying and returns to the beginning of the same time loop, understanding that he must survive the week, earn the trust of everyone in the mansion, and stop the hidden curse that kills at night if he wants peaceful days with Emilia and the others to become real rather than a dream that always ends in death. He forces a cheerful mask and rushes into work to appear harmless and useful, but the act does not match his crushed heart, and the stress makes him sick until Emilia finds him and gently gives him a lap pillow, where his defense finally breaks and he cries out everything: fear of dying, shame at failure, love for this new life, and the wish to save everyone under this roof. Puck warns that Subaru's mind is out of balance because his outside smile and inside pain do not match, and Emilia quietly accepts him with kindness, which lets him speak honestly that he wants to keep living by Emilia's side and protect this place even if it costs him everything, setting his heart straight before facing the curse again. Roswaal and Ram privately watch Subaru's behavior and think he is oddly familiar with details he should not know, while Rem senses both his helpfulness and something not explained, which keeps suspicion alive in the house as Subaru tries to earn trust one action at a time without revealing his secret power to reset by death. Because even trying to speak about it brings crushing pain from a black shadow that stops time and squeezes his heart. Subaru decides that trust alone is not enough because a hidden shaman is cursing targets. So he needs knowledge about curses and practical help to fight back before the fifth day, which is when death keeps striking in this loop. And he understands Emilia must be kept away from danger because she matters the most to him, and her safety comes before his pride or explanations. Subaru goes to Beatrice, the spirit of the Forbidden Library, and pleads for help, offering to trade favors and even Puck's borrowed promise if needed. And she finally agrees to teach him about curses in her sharp and proud way, telling him an important rule: a curse cannot be defended against once it fully activates, but it can be cleansed if caught before activation, and to plant a curse the caster must make physical contact with the target, which is the iron rule he needed. He realizes the contact must have happened in Earlham Village during his routine visits on the fourth day, and that explains why either he or Rem becomes the target, depending on who went there. So the cursor hides in the village flow of greetings and touches, using small, simple contact to seed curses that bloom at night when victims are already back in the mansion. With this, Subaru forms a plan to go early, observe closely, and prevent the curse from blooming by getting Beatrice to perform cleansing right after exposure, while also using himself as a shield if needed so that he can take the brunt and make it easier to remove the curse in time, because Beatrice and Puck can cleanse planted curses if they act before the point of no return. At the same time, Beatrice teaches him that curses are a rotten tradition that eats life and is different from normal magic, and he learns a small darkness spell called Shamak, well enough to use it clumsily, which can hide him and slow enemies at the cost of burning through his mana and leaving him unable to move. So he decides he must combine Shamak with a trick to recover movement at the key second. Subaru also asks about the witch to understand Rem's talk about a strange smell on him, and Beatrice tells him the world's forbidden truth anyone knows by fear. There is only one witch of jealousy called Satella, a silver-haired half-elf who destroyed the world long ago and was sealed by the dragon, the sage, and the hero, and just speaking her name is taboo, which explains why the scent around Subaru draws hatred and why Emilia suffers suspicion, because she looks like the witch. Subaru spends the next morning acting normal and cheerful to keep suspicion down, while focusing on two goals that the loop has shown him again and again: fix the timing around the village trip and guard the children there whom he bonded with, because casual contact in the village is the cursor's path to plant trouble. And he quietly prepares a small Bako fruit from the kids as a makeshift stimulant to jolt his mana-tired body right after Shamak so he can still move in the dark field. He returns to the village early, plays with the children, and watches how people, animals, and visitors approach with friendly touches that could hide a curse. And he spots tiny signs like quick bites or brushes that fit Beatrice's rule about physical contact, which narrows his fear down to crowded moments where harmless contact can be used as a weapon. Rem's feelings are tangled. She is alert to the witch's scent and Subaru's odd knowledge, Yet she sees his hard work and can't place any clear malice. And the way he keeps helping, even after mistakes, bothers her heart because it does not match the image of a hidden enemy. So she follows closely when trouble stirs in the forest, and a chill spreads as night comes. The curse blooms on schedule and demon beasts mass in the woods, proving Subaru right about timing and contact. And he decides to gamble everything by drawing the danger to himself. Because if the curse needs contact, then he can collect multiple bites, centralize the planted curses in one body, and carry them to Beatrice for cleansing before they activate, which gives the others a chance to live. He throws Shamak to drown the clearing in darkness, bites down on the boko fruit to force his body forward after burning out his mana, and pushes through pain and fear to reach the barrier line with the kids and Rem, trusting that Beatrice will rip the curses off him at the last second, because this is the one path that fits the iron rule, the timing, and his promise to save everyone. The forest becomes a nightmare as packs of demon beasts hunt by smell and sound, and Subaru takes bite after bite on purpose so the curses settle on him, all while using Shamak to blind the pack and stumbling forward with the boko fruit's sharp kick, making his legs move through the black fog because he must be the vessel that carries the danger to where it can be removed. Rem fights fiercely to guard him and the children, but the swarm is too many, and Subaru keeps shouting and drawing attention to himself to keep them from circling back on the kids. Letting the dark spell swallow the sight lines while he staggers toward the barrier line where Beatrice can reach. And every second he buys is a second closer to life for everyone following behind. At the edge of safety, Beatrice's cleansing tears out the unseen curses from Subaru's body before activation, and the world lurches back into motion as pain and poison ebb all at once, with Subaru collapsing from exhaustion and blood loss, while Rem steadies him amid the smoky breath of the beasts and the fading dark veil, proving the plan was just barely enough to save their lives. Even so, the center of the forest is still filled with beasts, and a massive one leads the pack. So Subaru squares up to hold them off with another desperate shamak and a last clumsy thrust that will not kill it, but might slow it, because sometimes buying a heartbeat is the only thing a powerless person can do when standing between monsters and children. Right when everything is about to break, blazing pillars fall from the sky and turn the battlefield into a furnace, as Roswaal arrives and erases the pack with overwhelming magic that burns through the darkness in the trees. And Subaru's body gives out when safety finally comes, because holding on was only possible as long as others needed him to stand. Roswaal's power wipes out the demon beasts in moments, ending the threat that Subaru stalled with his small tricks and stubborn will. And Ram brings the last stragglers around the black haze to safety, while Rem clings to Subaru, crying because he is alive. And Roswaal quietly says that he will erase whatever still threatens them, so that Subaru can sleep without fear. Back at the mansion, Roswaal and Beatrice, together with Puck, finish removing any lingering curse traces from Subaru's body and calm the villagers. And Subaru wakes in a noble room with Rem holding his hand because she did not know how else to help during his troubled sleep. So she did what would have helped her most if their places were reversed. The children come to the mansion and scribble clumsy thank you notes on Subaru's patient gown, thanking him for bringing Rem back and promising to do aerobics again. And he grumbles at the messy writing while looking out toward the village with a smile that gives away his heart, because he cannot hide how happy he is that they are safe. Rem apologizes for failing him and calls herself powerless and inferior to her sister. And Subaru listens without flinching, telling her gently yet firmly that her quick, rash courage is not weakness, but a shape of care that needs balance, and that what matters is not being a perfect copy of someone else, but choosing, again and again, to protect and to be kind with the strength one has now. In quiet moments, Subaru dreams of a void where a dark shape reaches for him, and another warm presence wraps him from behind, and a fading voice says words he cannot fully hear. And when he wakes, he chooses to live toward Emilia, toward trust in the mansion, and toward days that do not end in blood. Because love and stubborn hope are the only things that make his resets more than an empty circle. Peace returns to daily life after the forest is cleansed. And Rem softens toward Subaru because she has seen his resolve in pain, while he says openly that he wants to keep walking by Emilia's side and make this house a safe place where everyone can smile without fear. And Beatrice shows a hint of warmth behind her thorny words, as their bickering becomes a small sign of trust rather than a wall between them. Emilia stands taller in the village and the manor because people saw her friends protect them at great cost. And Roswaal praises Ram for holding things together while he was away. But in private, he looks further ahead than anyone else in the house because his eyes are on the coming royal selection and a purpose that is bigger and colder than the curse that just ended. Far from the smiles and thanks, Roswaal embraces Ram and speaks of the day the dragon dies as his true aim, making it clear that even as this loop closes with life saved and trust mended, greater plans and older oaths are moving under the surface. And the future that Subaru wants will pass through storms that are much larger than a hidden shaman in a quiet village. And Roswaal praises Ram for holding things together while he was away. But in private, he looks further ahead than anyone else in the house because his eyes are on the coming royal selection and a purpose that is bigger and colder than the curse that just ended. Far from the smiles and thanks, Roswaal embraces Ram and speaks of the day the dragon dies as his true aim, making it clear that even as this loop closes with life saved and trust mended, greater plans and older oaths are moving under the surface. And the future that Subaru wants will pass through storms that are much larger than a hidden shaman in a quiet village.